When we think of war, we usually picture soldiers, tanks, front lines, all the stuff that makes the headlines. But what if I told you about a war that was fought, not on a battlefield, but in the shadows? Today, we're diving into a secret intelligence war that kicked off in Europe, right after the 1998 nuclear tests sent shockwaves through South Asia.
And really, the whole story hinges on this one incredible question. How do you win a nuclear war without firing a single shot? Well, the answer isn't in some command bunker. It's found in the world of spies, secret front companies, and a high-stakes global game of chess.
All right, so to really get what this shadow war was all about, we've got to rewind. Let's go back to the moment the clock started ticking. The year is 1998, and trust me, the entire world was holding its breath.
So boom, May 1998, India just completely stuns the world with a series of nuclear tests. And it doesn't take long for a response. Just a few weeks later, Pakistan fires back with its own tests. And just like that, overnight, South Asia becomes arguably the most dangerous place on the planet. You've now got two nuclear-armed neighbors locked in this brand new, absolutely terrifying arms race.
Okay, so if you're Pakistan, you've got a huge problem. You need to build up your nuclear arsenal, and fast. But the whole world has slapped you with crippling sanctions. You can't just go online and buy what you need. It's completely off the table. So what do? How do you build a weapon when literally everyone is watching your every move?
Well, you turn to something called covert procurement. And let's be real, it's basically the high-tech art of smuggling. You create this incredibly complex web of fake companies and shady middlemen. Think of the infamous AQCon network, all to secretly buy what's called dual-use technology. Now, that's stuff that could be used for, say, a hospital machine or a nuclear centrifuge. The whole game is to buy the innocent-looking parts and sneak them right under everyone's noses.
So seeing this happening, India's top spy agency, the Research and Analysis Wing, you probably know them as RAW, gets a new mission, and it's a big one. The objective is crystal clear: find Pakistan's secret supply chains and tear them apart, piece by piece. The goal wasn't just to stop a shipment here or there. No, it was to disrupt, to delay, to make their life an absolute nightmare at every single turn.
So how on earth do you even start something like that? Well, RAW came up with this really elegant 4-step playbook. Step 1, infiltrate. Get your people inside the business and shipping circles all over Europe. Build a network of sources. Step 2, identify. Use that network to spot suspicious orders coming from companies you know are just fronts for Pakistan. Now, step 3 is the genius part: inform. They didn't just go in guns blazing. They'd take solid, actionable intel to their partners in European intelligence. And that leads to step 4, interdict. Working together, they'd swoop in, block the shipment, and watch the whole supply chain just crumble.
And that right there is what brings us to the main stage for this invisible war: Europe.
Yeah, you heard that right. This wasn't a fight in some remote mountain pass. The real battle was happening in boardrooms in Hamburg and shipping docks in Vienna.
RAW zeroed in on the industrial powerhouses of Europe. We're talking Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and the UK. Why there? Simple. That's where all the good stuff was. The high-tech, super precise components you absolutely need to build a nuclear program, they were all being made and sold right there.
And their main tactic was just surgical. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine there's a German company, right? They're about to ship some fancy machine tools to what looks like a totally normal trading company in Dubai. But just before the ink is dry on the contract, RAW slides a folder across the table to German intelligence. And inside? Undeniable proof that the real customer isn't some trader in Dubai. It's Pakistan's main nuclear facility, the Khan Research Labs. And what happens? The German company backs out instantly. The deal is dead. And another critical piece of the puzzle never even leaves the warehouse.
And look, this wasn't just a lucky break here and there. This was happening again and again. Between 98 and 2001, this exact playbook led to some huge wins. Entire smuggling networks that were running through places like Dubai got completely exposed and shut down. We're talking multiple shipments of vital machine tools and special metals getting stopped right on the docks in Europe. Each one might seem like a small win, but when you add them all up, it was a massive, massive blow.
So, okay, they stopped a few shipments. What's the big deal? Well, the strategic impact was huge. These little disruptions created these enormous ripples that completely changed the game in South Asia.
It really boils down to 3 key things. First, and this is the big one, it seriously delayed Pakistan's nuclear weapons program, threw a huge wrench in their timeline. Second, it was a massive boost for RAW's reputation on the world stage. Suddenly, agencies like the CIA and MI6 are looking at Iran thinking, okay, these guys are the real deal. They're a partner we can trust. And third, it sent a crystal clear message. India isn't just a military power. It can fight and win an invisible war thousands of miles from home.
But you know, the real prize here wasn't a busted shipment or a collapsed deal. It was something far more valuable: time. That's what this was all about. Experts figure these operations bought India years of priceless strategic breathing room to get its own house in order, all while its main rival was stuck scrambling to find new suppliers.
When you look back, though, the most incredible part of this whole story is its legacy of silence. I mean, think about it. This was a major victory, but there were no parades, no medals, and not a single headline in the papers.
The men and women who pulled this off, they got no public thank yous, no official recognition, nothing. Because in their world, in the world of intelligence, that's the very definition of success: anonymity. You want your enemy to know they lost, but you need the rest of the world to never even know a game was being played.
It took years before the story even started to leak out, thanks to investigative authors and intelligence experts like B. Raman and Adrian Levy. They were the ones who painstakingly pieced it all together, and their analysis pretty much confirmed it all, concluding that, and I'm quoting here, Indian intelligence frustrated Pakistan's procurement networks, working hand-in-hand with European partners.
So that just leaves us with one last kind of chilling thought, doesn't it? Here we have a secret war that almost nobody knew about, but its outcome literally shaped the balance of power in one of the world's most dangerous regions. It really makes you wonder, what other invisible battles are being won and lost right now in the shadows? And how are those silent victories shaping the world we live in today?